Anyway, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Waterhouse, and thank you for visiting me in my office. I really appreciate that. As you know, and I think we talked about, I'm from an energy producing state, and you have a wide variety of experience in a lot of different areas. And as you would imagine, my staff and others have looked through your Twitter feed, and we have a couple questions. I have a couple questions, and one is a tweet that you tweeted in 2015 when you said, "The ugly truth about energy is the ends don't justify the means," and then you hashtagged a bunch of things, one of which was resist capitalism. And I think this came to my attention and also sort of raised my ears a little bit, because you are going to be dealing in your position with a lot of private entities. You mentioned that in your 5-minute in your 5-minute opening statement. So I guess, what does resist capitalism mean to you, and how would that interplay with what you're doing? And what does it mean when you say energy, the ends don't justify the means?
Well, thank you so much for the question, Senator.
Sure.
To be honest, I don't recall that tweet. I'm not very active on Twitter, and I'm not familiar with the tweet you're referring to.
Okay. What about the resist capitalism? Apparently you were using that hashtag quite a bit. I don't know. Is that in the context of something that I might not be aware of, or is that just in general, or how does that interplay with what you would be facing at EPA with the private sector?
I think it would have been in some context, Senator. That has to date for several years. As I said, I'm not really active on Twitter, and I'm not sure what it was referencing. But I can say this, Senator, that I recognize the value of capitalism as a way of making sure that goods and services are made available to people. And I think reasonable and responsible regulation allows us to make sure that people can be safe and protected in the environment and in their daily lives.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Uhlmann, you and I talked. I appreciate the conversation. And in your statement, you talked a lot about finding common ground with exposure for clean air and clean water. And I think that is absolutely the mission, not only of EPA, but of all of us who are on this committee and in the Senate in general. Let me ask you, you had written a paper about an environmental agenda for the Obama administration that advocated for a clean energy standard. This is very topical right now, and a carbon tax. It also excluded any kind of carbon capture or anything nuclear or other kinds of energy that would count towards a clean energy standard. How do you think those opinions would play into this position as a enforcement and compliance chief of that area?
Well, thank you for the question, Senator. As I think all of us are painfully aware, and as Senator Warner mentioned in his introduction, the challenge of climate change is a clear and present danger. The wildfires in California, in the upper Midwest, the harms of Hurricane Ida visited upon the Gulf Coast and the East Coast all have, I think, focused our attention on the need to do everything we can to address climate change. If I'm confirmed for this role, I obviously won't have a role in deciding what the policy should be. That's for Congress to decide. And what I hope to do is everything we can in my office to help companies comply with the laws that Congress passes and any regulations that EPA passes to address climate change, and to bring appropriate enforcement actions against anybody who violates those laws.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get to, and I think you and I might have talked about this a little bit on the phone, is, sometimes, but you've sort of dispelled this in terms of the fairness and your track record in general, certainly over at the DOJ, in terms of certain biases as you're moving towards trying to enforce certain regulatory. But we can make those judgments later. Ms. Uhlmann, I wanted to ask you one question. Ms. Howe, I'm sorry. I mentioned in my opening statement that you'd had high-level roles in electoral politics, and I think you fleshed this out a little bit in your opening statement. But if we could just get a little bit more on making that shift from a political position into a federal agency in a managerial sense of environmental policies, what attracts you to that?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. I think both in political campaigns and in different levels of government, I've managed large and complex challenges, so there's some similarity there. I think that I've always considered myself a public servant, and I can think of no better place to spend my time and use my skills than the Environmental Protection Agency. Protecting the American people and the environment for future generations is of utmost importance to me.
Well, certainly one of the areas that is going to be a big challenge for whoever has your position is this desire by the administration and the EPA administrator to hire, if not hundreds, at least 1,000 new people. That is going to present a huge challenge, and from a managerial perspective as well. So I appreciate all three of you coming. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for letting me question early. I don't know that I can stay on the whole time, but I appreciate it. Thank you.